I'm going to list off the candidates running for Mr. and Miss Texas Southern University along with called an infraction. Some of y'all out there may not know what an infraction is. An infraction is really what we're using to validate or invalidate some of the candidates who are running for certain positions based off actions, some seen as minuscule, but certain people seeing it as a little bit more significant. Like if you like something, if you say something, if you post something. We don't value transparency a whole lot at TSU sometimes, but we're not going to call out anybody's names right now at the very least. But without further ado, I'm going to list the candidates so we can at least do our due diligence and not get an infraction.
Yes, because we love
All
it.
right, so we're going to start off with the lady candidates. Number one, first of all, is going to be the wonderful Janae Minga with her platform, Becoming Evidence. It's all about leaving our fingerprint and expanding academically, professionally, and globally. So Janae Minga is your Miss TSU candidate number one. Candidate number two is going to be Alexis Partee with a platform, Be the STEM. Basically aims to enrich, integrate, and produce. For those of you that don't know me, my African accent just came out a little bit in there. It's probably going to come out once or twice. You'll get used to it.
Yeah.
I'm not too proud that I uncontrollably code switch. Sometimes it's just if I converse with you guys, how I converse with my family. Some of you probably not understand what I say.
Yeah, it be like that. So you good.
Our Miss TSU candidate number three is the wonderful Janiyah Britton. I'm not going to steal your shine and say your platform, so I'm going to let you state your platform yourself.
Okay, so once again, as Nahab just stated, I am Janiyah Britton, and I am humbly vying to become your 73rd Miss Texas Southern University. My platform is the Maroon Renaissance, and it is set to promote entrepreneurship, unity, creativity, and also inclusivity on our campus. My goals for this platform is to, one, highlight student achievement and creativity on our campus, which will boost our support system on our campus as a student body. I want to connect with local Black businesses around Houston and just Texas as a whole to create internship and mentorship opportunities for our students. A big thing for me is mental health. So as an entrepreneur or as a creative, you need to focus on mental health, because paving your own way is tough, and just being a student in general is tough, and we need a support system. So I want to bring in local professionals, as well as team up with the University Counseling Center, to help out our students as far as mental health goes. And I would love to connect with transfers, because I feel like we don't really focus on our transfer students as much as we focus on freshmen. They're trying to have a smooth transition into to Texas Southern as well. So I definitely want to create relationships with them and help them get adjusted as well, because it is a big transition.
Let me just let the people know, if you're just joining us, we're going to be speaking on a lot of things. Right now, we're in the process of listing off each and every one of your Mr. and Miss Texas Southern University candidates that you all will be looking at and be hopefully voting for or selecting a choice, unless you're much like myself and you decided to abstain from voting because you choose to stand in solidarity with some of the people who have been mistreated throughout this process. But that's speaking for myself. You'll hear a lot more of my opinion going on. Janiyah was our contestant number three for the ladies for Miss Texas Southern University. If you're watching, feel free to ask us questions, drop a comment, concerns, questions, all of that. We'll try to interact with you all as much as possible. We want to make this interactive. We don't want to just spew off our opinions or statements on what's going on. At the very least, if you want to know something, ask. We'll be more than thrilled to answer. So jumping back into the Miss Texas Southern University, candidate number four is going to be Toria Porter, under the platform of Educating the Throne, basically emphasizing the importance of enhancement of academic success on campus. Now, Toria is legitimately one of the sweetest person I have met throughout this process. Everybody's fantastic, believe me. You can't go wrong voting for any of these people. But much like I stated on my personal Twitter and on my personal Instagram, make informed voting decisions. You don't want to be in the situation we're in, kind of like this one. And all I'm going to drop off right now is power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Take of that, huh? Yeah. Take a little note of that. I'm at home, so I'm going to have outside conversations every now and then.
I mean, it's the lockdown. It's the lockdown. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Candidate number 5 for the lady is going to be Devin Hurst under the platform of Wellness in TSU. It's a little creative, YOU with a capital U. Basically emphasize on mental and physical health. The next candidate, I hope y'all did not see my handwriting. My handwriting's trash.
And I'm over
Next
here
candidate, or candidate number 6 formerly was the one and only Kiara Chapman. Now, if you're in the Turn Up TSU group chat, you may have noticed she's no longer on the ballot. I can't really get too much into it, one, because it's not mine, and I don't want to be a hindrance into what's going on with that issue. But like I stated earlier, transparency is ultimately not valued or treasured by some individuals on campus. So as the students who are going to be voting for who we deem to be our future leaders, we don't know the reason why Kiara is not on the ballot. And I think it's an injustice to all the students. I think it's an injustice to Texas Southern University. And I think it's an injustice to Kiara Chapman for not being on the ballot so late, so last minute. But either way, I'm still going to state her name. Formerly candidate number 6, Kiara Chapman, was running under the platform, going above and beyond the ultimate experience. Basically, going with the pack above all and beyond the Tiger Walk. Like I stated, there is not a candidate amongst the 12 of us that's running, 7 ladies, 5 guys, for Mr. or Miss Texas Southern University that you can go wrong with by voting for. But I think when you have an incomplete ballot, it's almost a hindrance to competition, is a hindrance to future leadership, and it's a disregard for the opinion and the viewpoints of the students. But if you really want to know more about my views, go check out my Twitter at Nahab F, because I had a whole tweet on that.
I would like to talk about Kiara and her not being on the ballot. I definitely agree that is an unfortunate situation, just due to the fact of this whole process of being online and having to change. We usually have a pageant, of course, and so we've kind of been flipped into popular vote mode. So it's been challenging. There's been a lot of different adjustments that we've all had to make, and so it's really saddening that somebody who has worked so hard during her campaign, she's done an amazing job. It's unfortunate that she's been pulled off of the ballot. And there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening as far as what's going on as far as the popular vote. But, well, I'm not going to get into all that. But
once we list off all the candidates, we'll have more time to field questions. Love you, Tutoria. We'll have more time to field questions, and we'll have more time to speak on it personally. And that's the part I'm really looking forward to. The last candidate for the ladies, Miss Texas Southern University, is going to be Charity Lyons, running under the platform of Building Our Empire. Basically, continue student success and enhancement of student life on campus. Like I stated, no wrong candidates you could go with. All of these ladies are smart, outstanding individuals, all are product of the illustrious Texas Southern University.
Yes,
and
my girls, I love y'all. Girls, I love y'all.
All are capable leaders. Now, on to the fellas, the guys. We have 5 candidates vying to be your Mr. Texas Southern University. It's going to be Chris Jones under the platform Be Free, basically emphasizing that being different is all right, and that's actually I like that platform. Being different is all right. Nobody is the same. No group of people can claim to be the same. Everybody's different in their own right. So candidate number 1 is going to be Christopher Jones. Candidate number 2 is going to be Tony Devonier under the platform of Bite the Bullet. Now, Bite the Bullet, bullet is a acronym. He's advocating for brotherhood, unity, love, learning, empowerment, and tranquility. Candidate number 2, Tony Devonier. Candidate number 3 for the fellas is going to be Ryan Gallagher under the platform YSL, Young Successful Leaders. The title speaks for itself, YSL, Young Successful Leaders. Candidate number 4 is going to be yours truly, myself, Nahab Fandula, running under the platform. Appreciate the love as always. Running under the platform, we are good enough. Protecting and projecting the minority male's image. Now, the platform I'm running on, I don't want to spend too much time on myself. I'm going to briefly explain it. Protecting and projecting the minority male's image. Like I stated earlier, everybody's different. There's this stereotypical belief status quo that all minority males have to be subjected to this specific image. Now, with protecting and projecting the minority male's image, I'm not stating that there's one singular minority male's image, but I'm stating whatever the image that you have, once it's successful, once you have a drive, once you have a goal of something that you're trying to attain, that's the minority male's image. The minority male doesn't have to be subjected to a stereotypical socially constructed view of whatever he is. Candidate number 5 and last candidate vying for Mr. Texas Southern University is going to be Enrique Warnell. There goes the accent again. Enrique Warnell, under the platform of Find the U in TSU. If you want to know more about all of these candidates, you can go to the TXSU Report Instagram page. They have the candidates' Instagram. They have their platform, their hometown. But like I stated earlier, and I'm going to continue to state, please make an informed decision. If you all have been on Twitter, you know at the very least what's going on with the student body of TSU, what's going on with the administration, what's going on with student leadership. We have right now student leaders in office that don't want to do anything for your success or your growth as a student body. But we also have people in power who empower this type of mindset. We have individuals in set positions who lets this mindset happen. And even when student leaders, and one thing I should say, your student leaders, some of them are out there doing things that you guys are not all privy to. Some of them are doing great things. And I'm going to name drop a few. BJ, Demerick Ross, just to name a few that I really, I had to watch my language. I'm not on my Instagram.
They are amazing. They do a great job.
I really mess with. But
also,
like I said.
Yeah, I just want to name another, Kanaya Burley. She's working hard. Everybody working hard to make sure that our students are heard and everybody is accounted for. So I really appreciate y'all, everybody in SGA and UPC that's been really hustling and grinding for the students. So I love y'all. I just want to give a shout out.
Without saying any names, because again, I don't want to get an infraction. I will advocate to the student body that you elect people in positions that are strong positions that are actually going to be here the year after. You don't want to have a situation where somebody might have control over a set thing and they will not be at the campus the next year to see how that turned out. You don't want to have somebody that's over a whole maybe organization or over a whole entity of things that maybe would be selecting somebody as a leader and they will not even be on campus to see how that person will lead. That leads to a destructive situation. That leads to an unstable situation. That leads to a non-progressive or conducive situation. Like I said, guys, bring the questions in. Let's make this interactive at the very least. Janai and I will try to stay within certain guidelines because we're forced to.
We can shake the type in the hop. No.
What's that?
We can shake it.
Yeah, we can definitely shake the table a little bit. And I think one of the most important things that we should touch on, because we already touched on the candidates running for Mr. and Miss TSU, would be the candidates running for positions in SGA, maybe UPC. Now, a lot of people in the Turn Up TSU group chat have been asking, why are a lot of people running unopposed? Or who's running, who's not running? Why do we not know who's running for a specific situation? Why is this person getting disqualified when their actions was so minute that it doesn't hurt anything? Again, the key word for this live is going to be transparency. Transparency. And I hate to say, but I actually learned the significance of transparency.
Synopsis. Okay. Well, I'm usually on Twitter a lot. It's been very interesting. There's been a lot going on. We kicked off this lockdown with discussing the needs of the students. During the lockdown, you know, you had a lot of students that are in student housing that had to move out. They were given the emergency housing option as well. That was crazy. And you had, you know, a lot of friction between the student leaders, people in power, student leaders versus the students. It was crazy. It was hectic. A lot going on. We've had people disqualified. We've had people getting infractions. So I would say the TSU Twitter climate has been buzzing. It's been through the roof and crazy and continuously going. But it's nice to see that the students are being active and are saying their opinion and speaking their mind and letting the people in power know what's going on. Because of course, like, we are students and we're having to go through this on our own. Personally,
Appreciate you. We love it too.
yes, thank you. Personally, my experience as far as the quarantine, the lockdown, and trying to campaign and all this stuff, thankfully, my family was supportive and they were able to come get me. But I personally, I don't have transportation. I can't cook. I don't know how to cook. So I would have been a goner. And my job is at KTSU too. So it would have been problematic for me. So just, I feel like as far as our student body, we need to have compassion for the people that don't have the resources or don't have the support system. So it was a lot of talk about that.
That's true. There is something Mr. Ross, Demetric Ross, for those of you who know him, stated. He said you're always going to find them where the students are. And I don't know if he's watching still, but I don't like giving this man too much credit to his face because he's my little brother. I call him my little brother, whether he likes it or not. But this man is actually very smart, and it's true. He's going to be where the student body are. And I think that's what all student leaders need to aspire to be where the students are. And the students are on Twitter. When we're having all this, I believe it was coined students versus student leaders versus administration battle briefly after this lockdown started, after we got all suddenly, abruptly kicked out of our dorms, kicked off campus.
Yeah.
The students were on Twitter, and I think that's where all student leaders need to be. They need to be on Twitter, need to be on social media, need to be where your students are, because that's really where you're going to see what the student body wants. So a synopsis of the Twitter climate would be the climate of the university, because you don't really understand the climate of the university if you're not on the yard, if you're not on the university. Okay. And right now, we're not on the university yard. We're not on campus. So if you don't know what your constituents that you're advocating for or that you're supposed to be leading want, I don't understand how you can call yourself a competent leader. I guess I'm trying to be as nice about it as possible. Are you guys more relieved that students have more of a say-so in Mr. and Miss TSU voting? If I'm being blatantly honest, no. But it sounds horrible. It's not more of a say-so. Students already had a say-so in the Mr. and Miss TSU voting. The students say so. No, it's definitely not more fair. In my opinion. In my opinion, it's definitely not more fair. Students had the popular vote. It was a 15% vote. It counted for 15% of the total. And I understand this stated we can't do the pageant because of this. Myself, along with a lot of other student leaders, along with a lot of the other contestants and contenders, emailed the election commission. We emailed our administration, Ms. McKinney. We emailed her. We emailed the president about how we felt that this election maybe could possibly happen, maybe at the start of next semester, or maybe there would be another way. I just know that all the options wasn't looked at. And you need not take my word for it. Maybe you need to look at some other people's Twitter, maybe my Twitter, to see that the responses that we received was kind of just disregard for the viewpoints of the student body. And I got screenshots, so I got the proof that our current student, some of our current leaders just kind of threw away the viewpoints of people who had tried to reach out to them stating, no, this kind of creates a popularity contest. There are individuals in this contest who are not well known on social media. There are individuals in this contest who are not well known on campus, but it doesn't decrease the value that they may bring to the position. So to the point where the popular vote happens, I just have to be in an organization that's big enough, and that organization just have to show out, and I'm probably going to win. But what's your view on that, Janiyah?
As far as it being fair, as far as students having to say? Well, like you said, I feel like students have always had a say so in the Mr. and Miss TSU voting. I feel like due to the climate of the university and what's going on right now, of course, students are, expressing how they feel even more so than if it was just a regular pageant. So I feel like it's kind of, in a sense, increased as far as like the students interacting with what's going on and what's happening. So in that sense, I'm glad. I'm relieved. Is it more fair? No. Like you said, there are students that don't have a social media presence. A lot of the candidates are just now getting on social media. and trying to campaign. So that's really hard. Some students don't even have the resources to have, you know, campaign flyers or have a nice video. Before I came back home in Arlington in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I was in South Texas in my great-grandmother's house. It's a small town called Beeville, Texas. It's 3 hours from Houston, an hour from Corpus Christi. I didn't even have clothes to take pictures or do anything like that or put a nice little video out because all I had was some pajamas and a sweatshirt, TSU sweatshirt. So just being flung into from pageant to popular vote, like that's crazy. That's a lot of adjustment on top of dealing with quarantine and lockdown and just transitioning from having a spring semester to being online. That itself, on top of campaigning, is crazy. So
I want to touch on something you said. You said it looks better that students are interacting more. Now, if you all want to know a little bit a more detailed view about this, you can request a personal message with me about the email I sent to administration shortly after I found out about this. I stated to them in that email, and I'm going to state now, I don't think it increases student participation. Yeah. Last year's election, the SJ election, I don't think we got more than, well, not I don't think, I know for a fact we did not even get close to 5,000 votes. Why that's significant is because we're supposedly supposed to have 10,000 students. If you don't get 5,000 votes out of 10,000 students, you didn't even reach 50% of your students. That's when we were on campus. So to the point where we're not on campus, students are advocating that they need to stay on campus if you want the school to stay in session for them to be successful, because some of them don't have access to Wi-Fi, internet, laptops, cell phones. How do you expect to increase student participation of, let's just say, a school of 10,000 when this position is supposed to represent the student body view, when you're not even going to get the majority of the student body's opinion?
Yeah, that's
one of the biggest reasons why it's not fair to me. What advice would you give students in regards to the transition of academics being fully online? Y'all are amazing. Thank you, most definitely.
Thank you. Love you, Julia.
You want to take that? You want to take that? I could get a little lengthy and wordy, so I'll let you.
Wait, let me read again. What advice would you give students in regard to the transition of academics being fully online? Hound your professors. For one, if you felt like you needed to reach out to your professors when you were on campus, you definitely need to be reaching out now. Check Blackboard every day. I personally do reminders for myself. If I have a due date, I like to put the reminder maybe like a day or two before it's actually due, so that I'm really doing it ahead of time. Even if I'm kind of like late on my reminder due date, my personal due date, I'm still on time for the real due date. So I would definitely say that get some rest, for sure. Don't overwork yourself.
I'll stay up till 5 a.m.
Don't do that. I've been doing that.
Likewise.
But do not do that. Don't overwork yourself and don't drain yourself, and get the rest that you need. And once again, talk to your professors for sure.
I would definitely second everything Janiyah said. Reach out to the professors. That's going to be the best way to be about it. If we're being real, classes are online, and if we're going to be very blunt about it, it wouldn't be the first time you use the internet to help you. Use the internet to help you again. Don't have to become some type of angel now because you're at home. Now, if you are one of those students that's in a situation where, unfortunately, you may not have access to a laptop, or you may not have access to great internet service, or you're just in an overall horrible situation at home, please reach out to your current student leaders and to administration. It's their job to help you out. Yeah. They are supposed to be advocating on your behalf. If they're not advocating on your behalf, and I cannot stress this enough, if they are not responding to you within a timely manner, it shows they do not care about you and your personal experience at Texas Southern University. And I'm stating that from a first-hand point of view.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I would just like to say, for one, if you feel like you're not getting the best education as far as online classes, don't be afraid to speak up. We deserve more as students. We pay for the right to be here. We worked hard to be here on top of that as far as the application process and getting here. Like, we've all had to overcome obstacles to become a true TSU Tiger. So if you feel like you're not being, you're not getting your needs met as far as being a student, make sure you speak up to the people in power, for sure.
I know I just read a comment from Maya saying she have a concern. Go ahead and voice your concern, Maya, and we'll try to address it.
Yeah.
But Asia asked the question, how do we feel about the pass, no pass state system? I don't like it. I think it wasn't enough thought wasn't put into it. For all those people who saw the Wiley method, now we stand on Wiley. We definitely stand on Wiley method. That's an amazing method, and I think the administration and their student leaders, they took some time before coming out and just dropping that. So I guess sometimes lack of action can be seen as no action. But if you take a longer period of time before you say something, and then when you finally say something, it's amazing, it's going to be forgiven that you took a long time. Believe me, it's going to be forgiven. But you don't want to take a long time and then drop something and then nobody likes it. Or you drop something which you feel helps the majority of people, but you're really trying to make sure a minority of people who might take advantage of a system don't take advantage of a system. I feel like that's just so backwards. You want to stop the minority of people from taking advantage of a system, so you hurt the majority of people. That's basically my view on the pass no pass system.
For me, the pass no pass, I feel like kind of like going back to the point of speaking up when you feel like you're not having your needs met as a student. I feel like Wiley is a big example of, hey, we can receive more than what we have received from administration. So I feel like there's still a lot of work to be done. I saw on Twitter, a lot of students were trying to get A's for all.
1 second, Jenna, I hate to cut you off, but I want to make sure we respond to this person. I don't know who the person is, but it's a jig_on_dumb. Stated, in 2020, who doesn't have a cell phone? Y'all can speak about not having full student involvement. Even when school was in session, students barely participated in events. You may be absolutely right, but if students don't know about events, students cannot participate in events. It falls, again, on the leadership or the people pushing those events. If you don't push your events properly, students will probably not participate on events. But I want you to be careful, because I'm not attacking you here. I'm just responding to you. Be careful on the rhetoric that you use by stating, even when school was in session, students barely participated in events. It almost seems like you're putting the burden of participating in events on the students, as opposed to the event was created by me, Nahab. I didn't push it well enough and nobody participated. Now I'm saying, oh, all the close to 10,000 students at TSU don't mess with me, so they didn't participate. No, Nahab, you didn't push your events well enough. No, Nahab, you didn't have enough face-to-face interaction. It's not on the students, Nahab, it's on you. But that's my 2 cents on that. If you feel differently, please continue to comment, and we could definitely have an open dialogue about it. But go ahead, Nahab, Janaya, I hated to cut you off. I just want to respond to that.
Nahab, no, I'm kidding. I feel like another thing to understand is that for one, this is a pandemic. We've been thrown into this situation. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew what was going on, what was going down. This is all like one fell swoop. Once 1 second school was open and everything was good, and I was walking down the sidewalk, and then the next, nobody was there, and I had to pack up my little bag and go. So like Nahab said, like, as far as having students become more involved on for like campus events, like it does. As far as like pubbing your event, that's a big thing. As far as like getting student involvement, doing stuff that students want to do, having something that students want to come to, that's a big part. That's a part of any event, whether it's on campus or not. So just those things are something that you should keep keep on.
So Maya voiced her concern. She said, I may not be getting a housing refund because I receive institutional scholarships, which will go back to those parties and not me. Now, I actually really wish I could have expounded on that a little bit more. Unfortunately, I'm not too privy on that, and I don't want to give you any information that may be wrong regarding. But I would say, if you feel like you're getting cheated out of something, just communicate with the parties that's running that specific as far as the refunds. And I feel like that would be Residential Life and Housing, who the refunds go. I don't think it's right. If it's an institutional scholarship that you earned, I don't think it's right for them to say you can't get the money because let's just say you get a scholarship because you have a high GPA. I don't think it's right for them to say you can't get that money. We're going to give it back to the organization. But again, I can't speak to that. I've been doing that. Have they not been responding to your emails or whatnot, or have they responded in a way that you may or may not like? Because it's one thing if they respond and they tell you something but if they don't respond whatsoever, then that shows a bigger issue. And I'm glad that we have a platform that we can actually express that issue on. But definitely keep them coming, keep the questions coming, keep the comments and concerns coming. We as students, I feel like it's something that's not stated enough, and when it's stated, why are y'all at TSU if TSU isn't doing anything for you?
Well,
ooh, that
I would say this. For starters, I love TSU, and I love TSU so much that I'm not gonna allow her to slip or to make me not have me or my somebody or my peers have a great experience or get what they deserve, what they rightfully deserve and have worked for. So that's why I'm here. That's why I went, why I applied, and that's why I'm still here. I love TSU so much, I'm not gonna let her fall.
Whoever jig on them is, let's do better with our rhetorics. Why are y'all at TSU if TSU isn't doing enough for you? That's like telling black folks, why are you in America but America isn't doing enough for you? Really, G? That's the rhetoric we want to be using? If you are actually a student at TSU, you're making TSU look bad with your rhetoric that you're using, and we need to correct that. And I'm saying this out of love for you and out of love for my institution. We should not be getting on social media and embarrassing our institution like that. If you care for something, you don't want to see that thing do bad. If you have a best friend and you call that person your best friend and you know that person is doing wrong, you don't just sit quietly and sit idly by and say, nah, I'm going to cut you off. If you really care for that person, you get them on the straight and narrow. You make sure they do right. So that's why we're at TSU, because we want TSU to do right. That's why we're vying to be student leaders, because we recognize that there's a wrong and we're not just going to leave when we see a wrong to go jump on another ship. The grass may not be greener on the other side, sir or ma'am. I don't know who you are, but let's do better. Let's definitely do better. But please keep the comment coming. When I see something that's maybe wrong or possibly broken, I try my best to fix it. And I think we need to work on that rhetoric. So please keep the comment coming so we can work on that rhetoric.
Exactly. I feel like you see some students that are just willing to just take whatever administration gives. But if you're a active member in the community, if you are, a young adult, a black person in the black community, or a black and brown person in the black community, or in the community, period, like, you have to be able to speak your voice and, state your opinion for sure. You deserve so much more as a student, as a person that's a part of this community. So I settle for less when obviously, i.e. widely, we can have what we deserve, period. That's just that on that.
Now, I'm going to show my debate side a little bit because I'm on the debate team. On the debate team, there's something called linking. It's where you link every argument together and why it's important. So what I'm going to do for whoever jig on them is, I'm going to link this argument for you. This is why the issue is that because we have rhetoric like this leads to lack of progression. Lack of progression leads to stagnation in student leadership. Stagnation in student leadership leads to an ineffective student body, or a non-conducive student body, or a non-participating student body. So yes, I appreciate the clash here. Please keep the clash coming. Trust and believe through my years of debating I can hold my own in clash, but also trust and believe that for me to link all of this better for you to understand is because people have mindsets like this, that we're in the situation that we're in right now. Why are you at TSU if TSU isn't good? TSU is being its TSU's best right now? That's my direct question to you if you're still in the chat. I don't know. I'm kind of new to live. I don't even know if I can see who's in here somehow.
I know. I don't want to click.
If you're still in the chat and you believe that TSU is the best TSU can be right now, please drop that in the comments. And I hope your answer is the right answer, because if you say yes, then I think you and I should have a sit down. I'm all about informing stating my viewpoints. If I'm passionate about my viewpoints, I'm an Aries. I'm gonna state my viewpoints. Prove me wrong, or I'm gonna prove myself right. Students are the most important part of change. I absolutely agree. Sunrise Genesis. Students are absolutely the most important aspect of TSU. Please keep the comments, questions coming. We love this. We love to see it. We love to see some clash. We love to see some concerned student body. And we love to see some concerned, hopeful student leadership hopefuls and some concerned student leaders. I know we have student leaders. Everybody's a student leader in their own right, first of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't have to have a title to be a student leader. You don't have to have a title to be passionate about advocacy. You don't have to have a title to be passionate about change. If you want change, you can go out and make it happen, be a part of the solution, but do not be a part of the problem.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people who are a part of the problem right now. But movements like Take Back TSU, do you think Take Back TSU happens without like students? None of that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, honey. I kind of want to get back into campaign. So I kind of want to talk about, well, I want to ask you, what has your personal experience been running for Mr. TSU? What has that been like from beginning to now?
Honestly, stressful but rewarding, if I'm being completely honest with you. The whole reason, one of the reasons I started this is because I feel like something that I've started in some of my other organizations, something I'm passionate about, helping others as a whole, is something that I want to do on a larger scale. Now, when I started this, full transparency, I didn't think I would be able to achieve that without a title. Now I understand I can be able to achieve that if I care enough and I'm passionate enough about the advocacy to achieve it without the title. But it's been stressful, but at the same time, you put time and effort into the things that you care about. So I would not, let me not say I wouldn't change a thing about it, because the new format I would definitely change. I would definitely change the new format back to the original format if I could, or at least a better format. But that's my opinion. Time will tell if I'll be hurt or helped by my opinion. But the experience as a whole is one that I'm glad I went through, because I feel like more than before, I'm more in tune with the student body. More than before, I understand where the student movement will start. More than before, I understand that if I want the change to happen, I have to meet the students where they're at. And if I'm just advocating for something without the support of if I'm advocating for something without the support of the students, it's probably not going to get done, because we're stronger. It's kind of cliche, united we stand, divided we fall.
But it deserves a poetic snap.
Hey. But what about your experience, Janai? How's that been?
My experience has been quite intriguing. A lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of unexpected things going on. But I feel like you would expect that from a regular campaign, but it's even more amplified right now. As far as like me as an individual, I feel like it's helped me grow. Like you said, it's connected me with the student body even more. It's forced a lot of us to face a lot of things that we've been avoiding. Or we've been hesitant to speak up on, as far as our campus culture and administration, and just how our the status of TSU and what the climate truly is. It's opened a lot of people's eyes. So I love seeing that. I love Revelations. And another thing I would say is I've gotten really close to my fellow candidates. So I love that as well. I'm proud of everybody who is pushing forward through this, despite all of the crazy changes and the quarantine and all that, because it's really easy to give up on something like this when something has changed and you had one thing on your mind, one vision on your mind of a pageant, and going through that type of process. So I'm proud of everybody, including you, especially you, Nahab.
Much appreciated, Janai. I feel like Janai and I have seen each other grow, especially from being co-host in the radio studio to being student leaders on campus. Mr. and Miss Texas Southern University hopeful, as Mr. and Miss Texas Southern University hopefuls. I guess that's the best way to place it. And it's a process that's been different. Some positions that other people are running for, we've stated some people's platform and we said it at the top of this live, there's not anybody in this campaign, to my knowledge now, I may be wrong, time changes, time goes on and people change, but to my knowledge, everybody that's currently in the process, and even the one individual that I am informed of for the Mr. and Miss TSU pageant, that was wrongly removed for something so minute in less than 24 hours. There's not a candidate that would not be a good person to have the crown for Mr. or Miss. All of these candidates are amazing. All of these candidates are informed. All of these candidates are in tune with the student body, and they want the betterment of the students and the student experience at Texas Southern University, and they want the betterment of TSU as a whole. Now, what I will say to you, if you know somebody maybe on a personal level, and you know for sure they're not in it for the betterment of the students at Texas Southern University, please, please, please vote for somebody better.
Yes.
Final thoughts. And any questions? Any final thoughts, Janiyah, before we wrap it up as we're drawing to an end?
I would just like to say, pray for all the candidates, or put us in your positive thoughts. It is.
We got 10 minutes.
We got it for sure. But still, upliftment goes a long way for all of us. Show compassion to the student body. Just because you're not in a certain situation doesn't mean somebody else isn't going through something much worse. So try and help out as much as you can, whether that's financially, emotional, just be a support system through social media, or however you can reach out. If there's a student that needs help moving out, please be a helping hand. We need each other. We're one, and we have to be a unit right now for sure. Based off of the campus climate right now.
As all of those are absolutely true. Like Janiyah stated, and I can't echo it enough, if you need help, reach out to your brothers or sisters that are a part of your community at Texas Southern University. At Texas Southern University, we oftentimes say we're a family at TSU. If you have used that rhetoric before, or if you've stated we're family, now more than ever is the time to call on your family. If somebody doesn't have access to something, be a helping hand, provide that entity or thing that they do not have. And if you can't provide it, at the very least, point them in the right direction. Any type of help is good enough. There is no such thing, well, never mind. I was going to say there's no such thing as bad help. Some people can have negative intentions. But if you go into it with good intentions, I think it will turn out right. So be that helping hand that somebody needs. Now, looking forward to next year, do you have anything that you hope to see next year, Janiyah? Anything that you're excited for? Maybe being on the yard?
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely excited to be on the yard. Y'all, when I tell y'all all the manifestation that I put into that, yeah, I'm definitely excited to be on the yard, to be on the plot, sitting on the bench, and not only that, but being able to serve the student body and to serve the community. I mean, I was already doing it, but now I'm glad to have my sisters and my sorors to do it with. So that's exciting. As far as the student body, I'm looking for some more unity. I'm excited for that. I feel like this pandemic has really brought us a little bit closer. So that's exciting to see. I feel like the student body is looking for something different, looking for something new, and for people to speak up. So that's what's kind of happening. You can see the transition and the changes going on, the positive shift.
We love the support from Asia.
I know.
I started off the live by saying transparency is something we should focus on, but I feel like that should not undermine the significance of accountability also, and accountability with administration and accountability with student leaders, accountability to ourselves and to our peers for doing what's right and doing what's best for them. So accountability when we're on the yard or we're on campus next year, how should that look? So I have an answer to that question, but I want to give you an opportunity. How do you think accountability looks from our student representatives and ourselves?
When I think of accountability, I think of like supporting each other for one, as far as like creative projects, as far as what we've got going on, as far as coming together as a community whether things go awry or we're celebrating. I feel like that's a big part of accountability, having unity. You have to build that first, build a connection first in order to really be hold people accountable. And also, as far as accountability, as it pertains to Texas Southern, we need to hold our people in power accountable for their actions. We need to hold student leaders accountable for their actions, for sure. If we want to prosper as a student body, if we want our campus culture to grow, we have to be able to speak up and voice our opinion and stand up when we feel like we're being done an injustice on our campus.
And like I said, everything. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but all of that is something I would support. But accountability, I like the latter part of what you said. Hold people accountable, basically. Our student leaders, our administrators, our faculty and staff, for the progression and growth of not only the student body, the student mind, because that's what they're there for, but the university as a whole. We also have to hold ourselves to that same mantra, hold ourselves to that same standard, hold ourselves accountable as in, how are we projecting TSU? What's the image we're projecting of TSU when we're on campus or off campus, when we're on our social media? Are we being our best self? Are we forcing TSU to be her best self? That's how it should look. Are we doing what's right in and out of the classes? Because I don't want to undermine the significance of what we're at Texas Southern University for. At the end of the day, be it whatever title you may or may not hold at TSU, you came to TSU for one reason, and that's to get an education and to graduate.
Absolutely.
So if you don't do anything else, hold yourself to the highest standard of being excellence in achievement. That's what we say at TSU. So hold yourself to that standard of being excellence in achievement. Achieve the highest upper echelon of what there is to achieve, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
but still, get that degree. Get out.
Period.
You can't take the tiger walk with you.
You can't. And speaking of TSU sayings, we are the heart and soul of Houston, so we have to keep the heart and the soul strong. And by doing that, we have to hold people accountable, and we have to raise our hand whenever something's going awry, as far as the heart and soul keeping a beat. Period.
And if you raise your hand and you don't get called on, just speak out. Just interrupt something a little bit. As we say, shake the table. Period. Do something to get noticed. There are a lot of means to get noticed, and if you feel you're not still getting noticed, reach out to somebody that can help you out. But that's all from me. I think I've said enough on my closing remark. If Janiyah doesn't have anything else, we'll wrap this up. We're here as student representative of the KTSU Student-Led Initiative radio station, KTSU2, The Voice. We'll try to, because we're all home, so we're not going to do, this is not going to be an everyday thing, of course, but we'll try to do this several times a week where we'll have either myself, Janiyah, other representative from KTSU2, other hosts, Asia, Charisma. We have individuals who are all amazing, and they do amazing things. Shout out to the amazing Don, our producer, who always keeps us in check.
Love you. Asia, Charisma.
She's been dropping that timestamp for us.
Yes, still producer.
Yeah, but I just, again, want to emphasize before it's used against us that we're here as student representative from KTSU Network, here to just be doing what radio hosts doing. That's drop the information for what's going on with you. Now, if you want a personal view from each of us, well, let me not speak for tonight. If you want a personal view from me, at Brownie Blake is my Instagram. Yes. You can reach out to me. My Twitter is at Nahabef. You can reach out to me and we can have a detailed conversation. I have nothing but time.
Period.
Believe me.
I can agree with that. You guys can reach me at Mommy's Lil Militant, MommyLilitanT. Once again, I'm so glad to be back on KTSU2. I missed doing this so much. I missed my co-host and Dawn and all of them. So that's all the time we have, you guys. Make sure you tune in. Keep posted. Follow us on the KTSU_2 page. That's all the social media platforms. It's not just Instagram. KTSU_2 for all social media platforms if you want to follow us. And expect more of these type of conversations coming on The Hottest Show, or now The Hottest Live, on TSU, KTSU2, TSU Today, KTSU2. What we say, Janiyah? The what? The Voice.
The Voice. I appreciate all of y'all coming in. Y'all be easy. We're going to enjoy the rest of our day and get to business. Y'all be easy.
All right. Bye, y'all.